At Pepco, we know that rising energy costs are putting real pressure on families and businesses across D.C. Since we don't control most of your bill, we're focused on all we can do to help our customers. Providing assistance through our Customer Relief Fund, investing in reliability to reduce outages and costly repairs, and advocating for long-term solutions. That's how we're helping customers today and strengthening the system for tomorrow. Learn more at pepco.com/energy costs.
The right window treatments change everything. Your sleep, your privacy, the way every room looks and feels. At Blinds.com, we've spent 30 years making it surprisingly simple to get exactly what your home needs. We've covered over 25 million windows and have 50,000 five-star reviews to prove we deliver. Whether you DIY it or want a pro to handle everything from measure to install, we have you covered. Real design professionals, free samples, zero pressure. Right now, get up to 50% off with minimum purchase, plus get a free professional measure at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions apply.
On today's Smart 7, tensions escalate in the Strait of Hormuz, local elections loom with Labour under pressure, and much more. It's Tuesday, 5th of May, it's National Cartoonists Day, and happy birthday, Adele.
The Smart 7. It's news, but not the news.
This weekend saw a new wave of escalation in the Strait of Hormuz get underway. The US president announced on Monday morning that US military would begin escorting ships through the strait despite Iran's objections in a mission he called Project Freedom. That sparked claims from Iran that they had fired 2 missiles at a US Navy vessel and counterclaims from the US president that the US had sunk 6 of the Iranian Navy's fast boats. The weekend also saw European leaders and Canadian PM Mark Carney gather in Armenia for a summit which focused on both Ukraine and the ongoing crisis in the Middle East. Prime Minister Keir Starmer was in attendance, still in search of closer alignment for the UK with European allies as the world becomes increasingly more dangerous. He was also calling for European allies to step up investment in defence.
If we talk about defence and security, in Europe we've got behind. Over many years now, we're not where we need to be.
NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte was continuing to try and walk a delicate line between the US and the Europeans.
There has been some disappointment on the US side, but I would also argue that what I'm hearing from all my contacts with European leaders is that European leaders have gotten the message. They heard the message from the US loud and clear.
Monday saw 2 people arrested over an arson attack on a memorial wall in Golders Green. The attack, which took place last Monday, was overshadowed by the stabbing incident on Wednesday, but the Met Police say they have a number of investigations going on into a string of anti-Semitic attacks. Met Police Commander Helen Flanagan says 30 people have been arrested so far and 9 have been charged. The UK's terror threat remains at severe after last week's attack, which has been designated a terrorist incident, and Prime Minister Keir Starmer was particularly critical of those who support Palestinian action at a time when the Jewish community feels under threat. Tory leader Kemi Badenoch says that pro-Palestinian marches should be banned.
Of course we have a right to free speech. Of course we have a right to protest. But these marches are being used to create a climate of intimidation and fear against Jews.
Green Party leader Zach Polanski has drawn criticism for his response to the Golders Green attack, but he says that a crackdown on protest is wrong.
I think it's important that we make sure that we have freedom of speech in this country and freedom of protest. We've seen a genocide that's been going on for years in Israel now, of which our government is not just complicit, but actually selling arms.
Thursday sees the local elections take place across the UK, with huge pressure on Labour leader Keir Starmer, as some projections suggest his party could lose more than 1,500 council seats. Reform and the Green Party are expected to be the major beneficiaries, with the Lib Dems hoping that they might end up with most local councillors when the dust has settled. For both Labour and the Tories, the prospects are grim, and there has been talk of Starmageddon this week, as the PM could face a coup if election night goes even worse than expected. Transport Secretary Heidi Alexander says that chopping and changing leadership has proven to be a poor strategy.
Those people who think that we should have a leadership election now and repeat the mistakes that the Conservative government made in churning through prime ministers probably do need to give their head a gentle wobble.
The The ongoing war in the Middle East has continued to drive up prices of fuel, not just at the petrol pumps. There are warnings of shortages of jet fuel, with the price effectively doubling, and the longer the crisis goes on, the worse the impact may be across the summer. Ryanair had been warning about flight cancellations, but its fuel price hedging strategy appears to have insulated it from the worst of the crisis so far. Not so for low-price US carrier Spirit Airlines, which abruptly went bust over the weekend as the price of jet fuel broke their discount model. However, the US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was quick to blame Democrats instead.
This is just more of the mess we inherited from the Biden administration. They were against the merger. The reason we were here was because the Biden administration opposed the merger. We shouldn't have been here in the first place.
Still to come on today's Smart 7 in association with Metro, City lose ground in the title race, and Martin Short gets personal. Right after this.
At Pepco, we know that rising energy costs are putting real pressure on families and businesses across D.C. Since we don't control most of your bill, we're focused on all we can do to help our customers. Providing assistance through our Customer Relief Fund, investing in reliability to reduce outages and costly repairs, and advocating for long-term solutions. That's how we're helping customers today and strengthening the system for tomorrow. Learn more at pepco.com/energy costs.
While every other channel is fighting for your customers' attention, podcasts are where they've already given it. No one accidentally listens to a podcast for 45 minutes. They choose to be here. They trust the voice in their ears, and when that voice talks about your brand, it doesn't sound like advertising. It sounds like a recommendation from a friend. Acast gives you that trust at scale. Digital precision, host-read authenticity, and performance data that proves it worked. Don't fight for attention. Buy it with Acast. Learn more by visiting acast.com/advertise.
Welcome back.
It was a busy sporting bank holiday weekend, with Formula One back on track in Miami, and despite improvements for McLaren and Red Bull, Mercedes' Kimi Antonelli once again took the crown. Lando Norris finished second, and Kimi's Mercedes teammate George Russell finished fourth, with Max Verstappen in fifth. It was a busy Premier League weekend, with Spurs and Nottingham Forest both winning to pile pressure on West Ham in the drop zone. At the top of the table, Man United beat Liverpool to secure Champions League football, while on Monday evening Man City travelled to face Everton, but could only draw 3-3, which hands control of the title back to Arsenal. Pep wasn't conceding anything though.
We were outstanding, so we arrived by line a lot and shoots and chances. And it's not easy because they play defensively so well, so we take the point, and until it's over, we're going to continue.
Monday night saw the glamorous kicked up a notch for the annual Met Gala ball in New York. There's some controversy around the fashion event though, as Amazon boss Jeff Bezos and wife Lauren Sanchez have taken over as main sponsors. This year's theme was Fashion is Art, with Nicole Kidman and Beyoncé as co-chairs of the fashion event, along with Serena Williams and Anna Wintour. The eye-catching outfits included Rihanna, who said she was dressed as an oyster, and the return of Beyoncé for the first time in 10 years, who walked the carpet with daughter Blue Ivy.
I think it's really just experiencing this through the eyes of Blue and being able to relax. And I think for me, I'm wearing Olivier Rousteing. I've done so many incredible, iconic looks with him. So it's really about representing him.
Martin Short is a true Hollywood comedy icon. He's starred in classic comedies like The Three Amigos and Father of the Bride, and he's a veteran of Saturday Night Live. He's picked up 2 Emmys, 2 Actors Awards and a Tony Award over the course of almost 50 years in showbiz, and is currently enjoying success thanks to Only Murders in the Building, in which he stars alongside best buddy Steve Martin and Selena Gomez. Now a new documentary goes behind the scenes. Marty, Life is Short, tells the story of his life with contributions from Steve, Tom Hanks and Catherine O'Hara. It drops on Netflix on May 12th.
In life, sometimes you hit a green light, and sometimes for no reason it's red. Mom died and Dad's health went fast. We had a speed dial to the funeral parlor.
Yes.
But there were laughs during those years. But that's the point.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes, we'll give you the world.
At Pepco, we know that rising energy costs are putting real pressure on families and businesses across D.C. Since we don't control most of your bill, we're focused on all we can do to help our customers. Providing assistance through our Customer Relief Fund, investing in reliability to reduce outages and costly repairs, and advocating for long-term solutions. That's how we're helping customers today and strengthening the system for tomorrow. Learn more at pepco.com/energy costs.
You've got social dialed in. Search is doing its thing. So why do your marketing results look the same as 6 months ago? That's because you're fishing in the same pond as everyone else. Podcast listeners are a different audience entirely. More engaged, harder to reach through traditional channels, and ready to act when someone they trust makes a recommendation. We're Acast, and we put them right in front of you. Browse thousands of the world's leading podcasts, book host reads or run your own ads, and track every conversion in real time. Same skills you already have, brand new results. Acast. Acast.com/advertise.